Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 11. I think it's been a little while, but I got my little bro,
What's up? I'm Lincoln.
Lincoln Mug, as we like to call him.
Cut that part out,
No.
please.
I'm cutting nothing here. All right. I'm gonna start off with a devotional to kind of get us started. It's been a little while, so we're a little rusty, but I am.
All right.
Let me anoint you with my presence. I am King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
Whoa, what verse is this?
This is just the thing. The
okay.
reading before verses. Let me anoint you with my presence. I am King of Kings and Lord of Lords, dwelling in an unapproachable light. When you draw near to me, I respond by coming closer to you. As my presence envelops you, you may feel overwhelmed by my power and glory. This is a form of worship, sensing your smallness in comparison to my greatness. Man has tended to make himself the measure of all things, but man's measure is too tiny to comprehend my majestic vastness. That is why most people do not see me at all. Even though they live and move and have their being in me, enjoy the radiant beauty of my presence, declare my glorious being to the world. And that's what we're here to do, declare his glorious being to the world. So, kind of starting in that direction. Today's episode is just talking about, I brought him on so that we could kind of bring up any questions that the youth has, any kids have, that may not know Jesus. Just the stuff that goes on. It's just the stuff that goes on in a kid's head. And he's too scared to ask about, but that's why I brought my little bro with me, because he's fearless. Just ask away, bro. Anything.
Wait, so what was it about again? That's my question.
Oh, yeah, this question is about, like, any questions that the youth have for Jesus.
No, kind of like...
What?
Oh my gosh. Dude, so what was it about? The freaking passage, dude.
Oh, sorry. We are, My point in this was, enjoy the radiant beauty of his presence. Declare my glorious being to the world. So, like, that's kind of what we're doing. That's the mission of the podcast, is kind of just declare his presence.
Okay, and how do you do that?
Well, in this episode, bringing on the youth, so we can, because they've gotten my perspective on things, and I'm an adult, but you're a youth. What's your perspective, and what questions do you have?
So are you asking the questions, or am I?
You are, bro.
Because why you asked me to give my points? Like,
What questions do you have, bro?
I just said, how do you do that?
How do you do what? How do you do what? I just said, ask a question. What do you mean, how do you do that?
I asked you what the passage was about, right? And then you told me what it was about, right? And I asked, how do you do that?
How do we give our, like declare his presence?
Yeah.
Through the podcast. And through things
No,
that...
generally, because most, teenage population doesn't have a podcast about God.
Yeah.
So, are you going to continue?
Sorry.
Bro.
This started off on the wrong foot.
Go.
Why is it this question? Alright, bro. Do you have, any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What are they?
How do you do that?
Do what?
Oh, how do you...
Declare my
What was it
glorious-
about? How
it's
do you
about-
declare God's presence?
You could do it through just talking. You could just do about talking to your friends about Jesus. You could read the Bible to gain knowledge, so you could talk to people. You could do podcasts. You can make, I don't know, just whatever God feels is laying on your heart to do. Because God never acts out of selfishness. It's like I was talking to you about earlier. Like, you were saying, how do I know when God puts it on my heart to do something? And it's like, God never gives you never get a selfish desire when it's from God. Like, if God tells you go pray for somebody, you're not selfishly thinking, let me go pray for them, because your flesh would rather run from that and go into a comfort zone. You know?
Mm-hmm.
You would never want to selfishly pray for somebody or selfishly give to the needy. So, how we can declare His presence is the love that you show in the world, and the grace that you give people, and just the compassion that you show for others.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions, broski?
No.
Well, let's wrap.
Get into the Bible, dude. You have the whole verse.
In ways that you could declare His glorious presence to the world, being to the world, bro. It's come near to God. This is James 4:8. Come near to God, and He will come near to you. Wash your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. So you can't give the world, you can't declare His glorious being to the world if you don't wash your hands and purify your hearts in your mind. But the only way you can do that is drawing closer to Him. Like, you can't, by yourself, purify your heart and your mind and wash your hands. You have to draw close to God so He can refine you and He could clean you up, so that He could send you out to the world to declare His being.
So, like, you run to God for help.
Yeah. Yeah, you run to God.
You can't find healing through people.
Right.
I mean, maybe a therapist can help, but, like, it won't change your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, myself included, I've ran to things thinking it would heal me. And yeah, it gave me like that temporary, like, coping. It got me to forget about things for a second.
And then it comes back.
But then it comes back. So
there's only one eternal solution.
Right. And if you don't run to Him, you're just prolonging your. Do you have any questions? Like, what are some questions that you or your friends or
okay?
People
What if you run to Him and nothing changes?
The Bible, it talks about those who seek me with an earnest heart.
Because, like, I know that, but, like, when a person is on, like, their last straw and, they never really tried out Christianity before, like, they're not going to know all the technicalities of, like, you have to come to me with a...
Right. Well, the first thing you could do, if you have friends like that, or you know someone like that, my encouragement would be for the people that know Jesus to go to them and talk to them about Jesus. Because you're not going to know the truth if you're not even surrounded by the truth, or if you don't hear it. So the people that know the truth need to go out and say the truth to the people that don't. Like I was saying, in the Bible it says, "Seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you, ask and the answer you will receive." So it's like God is waiting for you to do your part, to knock, to seek, to ask, and He said He will give it to you. But you have to have faith, and you can't ask for something and then give up on it. You have to ask and, like, earnestly seek Him. And sometimes that is going on other people's behalf and asking for them and praying for them and seeking for them. It's called what's it called? It's called
I don't have a Bible right in front of me or anything.
It's called interceding for people. Intercession is stepping in the gap for them on their behalf.
Okay, what if, like, nobody tells them anything about God?
God,
and they're just going.
God,
but, like, also, to a response to what you said, I've heard people talk about how when they asked for something, like when their life was just sucking, and they didn't even believe that God was real, but they were just asking Him just in case. Like, they didn't even believe their prayer, but they just said it anyways, but it ended out becoming fulfilled. So what about the You have to come to me with an earnest heart. They didn't believe anything they were saying.
Oh, like they didn't believe in what they were just kind of just asking for like a backup plan.
Yeah, and somehow like I heard this guy talking about how he asked God for something, and a week later he didn't even remember that he prayed that.
Oh yeah, dude. So many times I pray for something. Like I pull prayers out of my butt sometimes.
I know, but you're already Christian, so like a person who's never spoken to God before, and then they ask and they don't even have any faith in it, but it still becomes fulfilled. What do you have to say to that?
For the ones that ask but don't have faith in it,
Yeah.
I say to that, the person that asks that doesn't have faith in it, have faith in it a little bit, because why would you ask something if you didn't have a grain of like belief?
Yeah, true.
Like if you're asking for something, you have hope in it, even if it's the slightest amount. All right, so we touched on a few things, and I hope I really do hope that I answered it in a decent way. But if you need like any like specification or a little bit deeper of understanding, let me know.
No.
Sorry if I like disturbed it. I keep like almost hitting it. We're rolling on a budget here. Do you have like any more questions? Like any this podcast is literally for all the youth. Any questions that you've had yourself, Lincoln, or any questions that you know your friends have had? Just spitball.
Okay. How do you resist temptation?
Ooh, that's a good one, bro. That's a really good one. Well, someone that's dealt with temptation ever since I was 8. Honestly,
and I'm not talking just like lust. I'm talking about
I know,
greed
anything.
and pride. And
yeah,
all the sin that
yeah.
temptation comes with.
Honestly, I know it's like I've been saying it the whole time, but it's Jesus. But I'll go in a deeper understanding, a little deeper. It's really hard. I'd be lying if I said it was like easy to just resist temptation. In the Bible, it says that God will send you a way out of temptation. He does not tempt you beyond what you could bear. He will provide a way out. So first of all, you have to have hope in that. You have to have faith in like, even though right now it's a struggle, I know my Jesus loves me, and I know He's gonna send a way out. Like, dude, I've had times and times again like God give me a way out, but I don't take it. But that's on me. Like I have to, if my heart seeks Him and desires Him and loves Him, I have to give up these things.
Yeah,
And
He gives you like a way out, and it's up to you whether if you want to be selfish enough to ignore it.
right,
Right? If you let temptation cloud your judgment, and and literally right after, you feel this deep regret. As long as you like have like somewhat of a belief in God, and you kind of have a regret of what you did.
yeah, yeah,
So it's up to you, because once again, like, God gave you free will, so He's not gonna force you to not do this, because that's not love. You don't love someone and then force them to love you back. Right? Love is a two-way street. You can't just like, let's say you have your car and someone else has their car. You guys both have to like stay in the same lane, right? If you merge into the other person's lane, they're gonna get swerved off the road. So
yeah.
it's 50-50. You guys gotta both meet at the same end.
Yeah, like God's not gonna like merge into you. You guys have to be like equally pursuing each other, because the relationship, it doesn't grow at all when, like with his car metaphor, let's say someone's going like 50 miles an hour and another one's going 30, right? They're never gonna be equal. So like God is gonna pursue you, but you have to pursue Him equally, so you guys are on the same path. But if you're like, if He's trying to pursue you, but you're like kind of pursuing, you guys are gonna be like uneven and not on the same page. So like being in touch with Jesus, that will really help you. Like if you truly, put all your faith in Jesus and just have a relationship with Him, all the temptation that you're going through, He's gonna be on the other side of that, on the same page, on equal playing field. He's not going to be way down here because you're way down here. You know, if you pursue him, he will pursue you just as much. Because he's not going to be like, dude, you know, Lincoln, bro, it's me. You know, I love you. Just love me back. He's not going to, like, force you, bro. It's because love doesn't force. Love just loves, and it caters to you when you run to it. You got to run to it as much as he wants to run to you. But, yeah, temptation's, it's a tricky thing, but the way out of it is love, bro. You just got to love Jesus. And I know that's, like, cliche, and I know it's, like, that's not what people want to hear. They just want, like, an antidote, like, right there, then and there. But it's a process. Temptation is a process. For someone that's been tempted for a while, bro, it's a process.
If you want to fight temptation, you just got to muster up the strength to not do it. There's really no scientific way to stop yourself. It's just you in your mind.
It's not even, like, mustering up your own strength. It's like, because, dude, in your own strength, you're going to fall.
Yeah.
But when you have Jesus and you ask for strength, like, Jesus, I don't want to give into this again. You know, I'm tired of, falling. I'm tired of falling short and hurting you, and which in turn is hurting myself. You gotta just be like, God, I need your strength to get through this. Like, when you first start your day, be like, God, I just need you.
Yeah.
To give me the strength for whatever may come.
And
he will.
Our pastor at our church, like, last Sunday, he said, praying shouldn't be like the last thing you do. It should be like the first thing you do. Like, when you get up in the morning, the first thing you do instead of getting on your phone, it's a bad habit of mine. Right? Just get up and pray and just, like, because without God's strength, you're not stable. Right? And it's like it's my favorite verse in the Bible, Matthew 7, verse 24 through 27. It's like, if God is not your foundation, then once something bad comes, you're not going to stand, right? And even if you're with God and you fall, you will have the strength with him to get back up, right? But notice how, like, a bunch of, never mind. But, like, yeah, like, yeah, like, if you don't have God, like, you're going to fall, and then you're going to beat yourself up, and then you're going to kind of just sit in that kind of depressive state. But when you have God and all the bad things you've done, right, he's still there, right? Not even me, even though I'm a great guy and stuff like that.
Great guy.
I've done people wrong, you know what I mean? You know, I've not been perfect, right? But, like, I've been abandoned by people, but, like, no matter what you do, which is, like, the beauty of it, you know? Like, no matter what you do, he's still gonna be by your side as long as you just lay it down to him.
Yeah.
That's all he wants. He just wants you. He just wants you to give him all your problems, and, like, that's what he wants. He doesn't want you to give in to something else. Like, and it says in the Bible, like, put your faith in nothing else.
Yeah.
Right? Don't make anything else your idol. And, right, and personally, me, God isn't first for me right now. I'm gonna be honest. You know, like, I'd rather go play frickin' Rocket League or Fortnite than do and read the Bible.
Yeah.
You know, and, like, and I'm trying to lower that. Like, recently I stopped listening to, like, a bunch of bad music. And I'm not saying I completely stopped, but, like, I definitely lowered the income of, like, bad music, because it influences you more than you think, you know?
Facts.
So, like, yeah, man, you just gotta make God first. Right? You know, he's always at the door.
Facts.
He's always at the door, right?
Yeah.
He's not gonna knock and ask to come in. He's always just gonna be there whenever you want to open the door.
Facts, dude. Yeah, he's not gonna just let himself in. But yeah, kind of like what you're saying with the foundation thing. It's like, you know, the one that built his house on sand. You know, the wind came and it just, like,
Yeah, and the
blew
sand
down, but
is like, Sorry, I'm kind of taking over this podcast here. But the sand is like the gym, like games, you know, lust, pride, greed, stuff like this, like putting your faith in money, right? And once again, well, actually not once again, I never even said this, but money is not bad, right? It's when you put all your trust in money, and once you make money, your kind of personality and what you follow.
Yeah, just like all things. If you like put
Just
yourself,
like all things, yeah.
if you like subscribe to like, you know, your pride or your lust or whatever, I mean, it's actually really bad.
Yeah.
No matter how much of it you carry, no matter how much lust you have, but like, yeah, like the money thing, it's like not bad unless you start abusing it.
Yeah, like when I play games, right? That's not bad, right? But it's when I put it over God, that's when it starts to get pretty iffy. You know what I mean?
You need to know like your like skill things. Like you can't. Here's all the world stuff. You know, games. They're just all like, you know, things that are outside of God. And then here's God. You know, you can't have this side way down more. You can't even have it balanced really. But you could have a portion of it. You just can't abuse it and idolize it to make God lower than those things. But like what you were saying, like, you know, the sand is games.
Yeah.
It's lust.
I'm not saying it's bad.
It's pride. It's all those things. When you idolize it, that's when it becomes your sand.
Yeah.
When you put your faith in it. But the brick, that's God.
Yeah.
You know, you don't start building your house with the foundation of carpet.
Yeah.
You start the foundation
fall.
with cement.
Yeah.
And cement is Jesus. And the carpet is whatever thing is outside of Jesus.
Yeah.
But, yeah. What other questions you got?
Also, I said, like,
Oh, cool.
greed, lust, pride, actually don't even partake in any of that. Yeah, it's, you know, we're gonna
You'll fall
mess
short.
up.
You'll
We're
fall
humans.
Don't make it you. Like,
Yeah.
all it takes, I tell people this all the time, like, it takes one. It always takes one time. Like, if you're tempted to go lust after a woman or, you know, watch things you probably shouldn't watch or do things you shouldn't do, it takes one time, because if you give the enemy this much, he'll take more than the little portion that you gave him.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you give him 1 day of your time, he'll take a whole year of your time. And then that whole year that you're giving him your time, he'll take 10 years.
Yeah.
It's just an ongoing cycle. So
Yeah.
whatever you give to Satan, he will double it. So you need to stay outside of these things. And yes, you might fall, but always like run back to Jesus. What's that verse? I think we talked about it today. 7. Man 7.
Uh-huh.
Man 7.
A man falls 7 times and gets up 70.
Yeah. So.
Right. And I kind of want to put this in comparison, you know, to make you realize how greater God is, right? So you fall into lust, right? Or pride, or greed, or gluttony, or stuff like that, right? Like I said, it takes that much to make you do this, right? And then it keeps going for like a year and 10 years and 10 years. Or you could view it like this. It takes one little sliver of God's light to change your life, right? Now, would you rather be, you know, for the next 10 years of your life, let's say, you know, just be greedy for whatever you want, lust, right? All those things, it all revolves just around being depressed. Would you want to be depressed for 10 years? No, obviously not, right? Or would you want to live in joy, happiness, peace? Not saying that there's not going to be bumps in the road, because no matter where you are going to mess up, and things are not going to go your way. But a lot of the times it's just God testing your faith and see if you really want Him, right? So, but like I said, like, would you rather just sit in depression for the next 10 years, or would you rather be happy the next 10 years? And I don't know why you would choose the first option, because that's no one with any common sense would ever want to live in depression for 10 years. So
And it's, a lot of times, bro, it's like speaking on like the behalf of people that have experienced addiction and stuff. It's not the first time it's a choice, right? But the first time, oftentimes you don't know it's a bad choice, and then you're too far gone in addiction to just stop. So like even though like after you're addicted, you could still choose. It makes it that much harder because you gave it that one experience. Because the devil took more than that one experience. You gave him a sliver, he took it all. So my encouragement to the ones that are addicted and the ones that have fell into temptation, just like give yourself grace. Like I did this for myself and it really helped me. It was like when you fall into something, don't become shameful. Fall into something, get back up. Recognize that feeling in you that just doesn't seem right. That's God's conviction. Don't look at it as condemnation, because God doesn't condemn the ones that he loves. He doesn't condemn anyone. But he convicts you to get you back on the right path. So don't look at it as shame. Look at it as like, man, God loves me enough to let me know when I'm doing wrong and to correct me. So like rejoice in that and just give yourself grace. Because who are we to like not accept the grace of God?
Yeah.
And who are we to be like, God, your grace is not good enough. You died for me, but that was not good enough to save me. But truthfully, if it was just one of us on planet Earth, he would have sent his son to die for that one person.
Yeah.
So just give yourself grace. Give yourself love. Like the same way God loves you and gives you grace. Don't fall into shame. Recognize when you do wrong. Feel that conviction in your spirit. And just like just forgive yourself. Don't be hard on yourself, especially when you're trying to do good, when you're trying to be better than you have been, when you're trying to give up your addictions and things that you keep falling into for Jesus. Give yourself grace, because the devil resides in shame. If you're shameful and regret things and are hard on yourself, that's where the devil resides. But when you start giving grace in the darkness and bringing light to the darkness of shame, the devil can't reside there anymore. He has to go. So then your spirit starts uplifting, and then you can see God more clearly because you're not hiding behind the mask of shame. You're actually being revealed through the lens of grace. So, yeah, that's my advice for temptation, really. That was a long one. You got more?
I remember I told Connor this because I saw a TikTok, and it went pretty viral, so you might have seen it too. But this random guy who believes in God, and then a dentist who doesn't. Right? Then the dentist says, I don't believe in God because there is so much bad in the world, and there's so much going on, and killing, and death, and diseases in the world, right? And there's like temptation and all this. Why would, if God's perfect, he should create a perfect world, right? But here's where it comes from play. So the random Christian asks the dentist, "You're a dentist, right?" And then the dentist says, "Yeah." And then the Christian says, "Well, I don't believe in dentists." And then the dentist says, "Well, I'm literally right in front of you." And then the Christian says, "Well, there's so many people that have cracked teeth, people that need braces, people who have no teeth, And then the dentist says, that's because they don't come to the dentist. And then the Christian says, that's the same thing with God. If you don't come to him, that's why the world is so chaotic. No one's going to go to God for their solution nowadays, right? But if you go to God, it's peace. This is where you find peace, right? And once again, people that don't go to the dentist, it's their free will to not go, right? And it's the same thing with God. If you don't want to go, he's not going to force you. Dentists don't force you to go. So God's not going to force you to go. So it's like, people don't run to God with their problems. That's why there's so much chaos in the world.
Yeah.
So. And also, another problem in the world. I'm seeing a lot of Christians make videos, right? And in the comment section, this kind of makes me mad. But, you know, gotta control my temper sometimes. Definitely.
Sometimes.
But, so it's like this person talking about, like, I don't know, anything that can make someone mad, but it's like the truth, right? And then I see a bunch of people in the comments commenting, like, I think it's like Luke 16:37. And it says, like, who am I to judge another man when I myself walk imperfectly, or something like that. Which is true. But, you know, there's also a thing called righteous judging.
Yeah.
You know? And if there's someone blatantly disrespecting God, right? And you call them out on their crap, and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, why are you judging me? You know? There's no hate like Christian love. And I'm like, dude, like, sometimes you have to judge, because you can't just sit there and, you know, let people just disrespect your religion.
But just like in a righteous judgment.
In a righteous, not like, oh my gosh, why would you ever say this? You're such a piece of crap, right? Not like that. Tell them where they're wrong, right? And tell them how they can fix it.
And really, it's just like, it's righteous judgment is not like, you know, judgment. It's just, it's challenging somebody. That's what it is. It's like, you're not telling them, hey, you need to change. I mean, you tell them, hey, this is where, you know, I'm not judging you, but I'm just, you know, you're like correcting somebody. You're correcting them, but challenging them to grow.
It's a matter of correction and, challenge.
Because us as humans, you know, like, we kind of get comfortable with things. You know, I know it's kind of like a little off track, but we get comfortable with things. You know, if we go to the gym and we lift, we were talking about this today, we go to the gym, we lift 20 pounds every day for like the next 2 years. I'm not really, I'm still like keeping my muscle in shape, but I'm not growing it any. But, you know, when I challenge my muscle and I throw on an extra 10 pounds one day, I'm putting 10 pounds of restraint on my muscle. So then it's challenging it to grow. So if you don't put restraint, a healthy restraint of love and like a righteous judgment on people, then they're not going to grow. And sometimes, you know, they're not going to want to grow. And you got to be okay with yourself and Jesus to be like, you know, I respect that. I respect it.
It's like free will, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you can tell them, you could challenge them, right? And if they still say, no, I really don't want to listen to you, then that's when you step away. You're like, okay.
Yeah, because
that's your choice.
You don't cast your pearls to swine. I know that's a Bible verse. Like, you're not over here trying to like convince people.
Yeah.
You're not trying to people that like don't want to listen. People that don't want to listen, bro. You don't just like keep going, because
that's how you get someone to pull away.
Yeah. So you don't cast your pearls. You don't cast the good in you to people that don't value it and aren't gonna respect it. You could try, but as soon as like like they're just like not respective of it or not like receptive either, then that's when you just step away in a loving,
you don't
kind way.
You advise.
Yeah.
You just
Because we're not supposed to convince people of Jesus.
Yeah. You tell them, right? You plant a seed, and then if they care enough to listen, then God will grow it.
Yeah, he'll water it a little bit. He'll put like one of those packets, that, like Miracle Grow, and just grow, bro, so fast. That's the way it does.
And I actually used this example and it turned out for the better. So there was this girl on Snapchat, right? I checked her bio, and she had a public profile, and it was like showing so much cleavage, right? And it was like borderline nip slip. And her bio says, Jesus is great, you should try it. You should try him sometime. And then I messaged her and I'm like, how come you have Jesus in your bio but you show like half of your body? And she was like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, I know everybody has their problems that they need to fix on, but I'm just like, if you're gonna truly put that in your bio, like, you have to mean it.
Yeah.
right? And don't go like showing, because I'm not gonna tell you to take it down right now. You have to, like, again, I'm just advising. I'm like, maybe if you're gonna have Jesus in your bio, don't put all the cleavage and everything showing your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Either have one or the other. Most, I would like you to just have the Jesus.
That's good.
Because you can't worship God, right, and then turn around and go do all this and this and this and this and this, like all these worldly things. Yeah, you can't worship two things. It's like you have to give all.
It says in the Bible you can't have one or the other. You're either hot or cold for God. So you have God or you have the world, and
yeah, it's your choice.
Like when you choose God, you have like the biggest blessings ever. But when you choose the world, like that's the only gift you're getting. That's the only thing you're gonna receive is what is from the world because you chose the world.
Yeah.
And like we as Christians, bro, we need to represent God better. Like for real.
Yeah, dude, like how do you think?
How
do you think a person that doesn't believe in God goes and clicks on her bio and sees, oh, you should try God, and then it shows all her butt and boobs, right, and this crap. Like, you gotta choose whether, like, you want to worship God or do other stuff, right? And also, not that you were really thinking about this when it happens, but let's say you create a bio and it shows all this stuff, right? How is it gonna reflect when some guy's kind of getting tempted and then sees your bio and then you're leading him to lust, right? And then that may not have been...
Dude, I'm sorry, bro. You just remind me. Keep going.
That may not have been like your intention in the first place, but you showing all that could get a guy his hormones just activated in him, and then it leads down a deeper pit.
Fact. Dude, sorry, you reminded me of something. It says in the Bible, it's better for you to tie... I'm paraphrasing here. I don't know the exact quote. I'll throw it up on the screen, though. It says... it's better for you to tie cinder blocks around your feet, jump in the ocean, than it is for you to tempt one of God's loved ones. Or something like that, dude, if you tempt somebody, whether you're, if you tempt somebody, that's not only hurting your soul, it's hurting the other person's soul. And then it's wrapping their soul in temptation. And it's not only one thing. Like I said, like if you're tempting a dude or you're tempting a female with lust, then that lust will go into something deeper. And then that deeper thing will go into something else. Like I said, you give the enemy this little bit, he'll take this much. So, like when, I fall into temptation, I fall into that certain thing, but then the enemy gives me anxiety after that. And then anxiety leads to depression. And then that leads to self-sabotage. And that leads me to being mean to people because I feel undeserving of love. So it's like the devil would take, you give him a sliver, a fraction of anything, he'll take more than that. So, yeah, it's better for you to tie cinder blocks around your ankles into the ocean than it is for you to tempt a child of God.
Like, and after I told that, like, it made her look at herself, because sometimes you gotta call out people, you can't, like, just sit in a little bubble and not tell people when they're doing wrong just because you might hurt their feelings or you're scared to, like, you gotta tell them, like, hey, dude, why do you
do that.
Huh?
Or do that.
What?
Do that. It's a girl.
Oh.
It's a girl version of dude. Sorry.
Oh, but
ADHD.
Yeah, and then after I told her that, I was off Snapchat for a little bit. I got back on like 5 minutes later, and then she deleted all of her photos.
That's awesome. Dude, that's actually so cool.
So, I'm not the one, like, me telling her that probably saved hundreds of people from lust, right? And Yeah. I'm not the one who did all the work there, right? She could have easily turned away, but when I told her, right, when God told me to tell her, then God told her to, or like influence her. Like I influenced her, God influenced me, I influenced her, and then
she influenced her page.
Something like that. All the stuff, and that saved a bunch of people. So it all starts. The root is God, and then the vines are.
It says, Pharisees, ask Jesus, well, what's the most important law, or whatever like that, right? And Jesus said, love God and love your neighbors as yourself. So he summed up every law. I think it's 330 laws, or 130. I'll throw it up on the screen again. But yeah, he summed up all those laws under 2 laws. Is love God and love others as yourself. And so by linking loving God and loving others as himself, he challenged with a righteous judgment somebody, and then his actions influenced her to influence her page. Because maybe that planted the seed in her head of man, I'm really not reflecting God well. I love Jesus, but what I'm posting isn't reflecting Jesus well. So dude, that's really cool.
Yeah. If you just tell people, right? Once again, don't force it, because that's how you push people away. They could change something so little, but it can gradually change their life. So
it really can, dude. All it takes is one, bro. Just in the same way that it takes the enemy. You giving the enemy one chance, all you have to do is it takes one time for you to love somebody because you love God enough to tell them, and it could just change their whole future, and then that could change generations.
Yeah.
All because of an act of love. And that's why one of the greatest commandments is love God love God and love others as yourself.
Yeah.
Because it influences everything.
Yeah, dude, I could be, most of the times, when my mom wakes us up for church, oh my gosh.
Keep going.
Every time my mom wakes me up for church, I go psychotically insane.
Yeah, dude, mom is not the best person to wake you up.
She is like an alarm clock.
But worse.
Yeah, if you were stomping into your room and then she comes in and
dude,
she just yells. I'm like,
dude,
I love you, Mom, but
yeah, dude, you know those I think Mom sent us this one time. She was it was a TikTok 80s moms, and they burst in your room on Sunday morning just praising as loud as they can, stomping and clapping.
Yeah.
That's Mom. It's not, it's annoying when you first wake up, right? But I'm glad she's not screaming emo music, but screaming Jesus.
And once she wakes me up, I'm super tired. I'm like, gosh, I do not want to go to church.
Relatable.
I'm bumpy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's probably relatable for a lot of people, right? But then as soon as I sit down in it's called the congregation.
Well, congregation is the people. Just a seat, bro.
When I sit down in the seat. In the church.
Congregation.
When I sit down in my seat.
Yeah. That's what it's called.
I already feel a sense of positivity coming over. And,
yeah.
It influences you for, the rest of your day to just appreciate. And, and it gives you a good attitude. And
facts. Oh, dude, hold on. Since you said that, I'm going to read yesterday's thing. That's alright. It says, seek my face at the beginning of your day.
Yeah.
This practice enables you to put me on and wear me throughout the day. Most people put on clothes soon after arising from bed. Similarly, the sooner you put me on by communicating with me, the better prepared you are for whatever comes your way.
Exactly, man. Just a couple minutes ago when I was saying the first thing you do when you wake up, pray. I don't care if you're booty butt naked in your bed.
Yeah.
Right? Depending on how you like to sleep. pray before you even sit up,
Yeah, dude.
right? Or I guess you could sit up. It's fine however you pray, but like before you even put on your clothes, the first thing you do, yeah, I don't care if you're baby bottomless, booty butt naked.
Yeah. Honestly, bro, that's kind of been a hard thing for me lately. Like past, let's say, I don't know how long. But today was my first day I woke up and just did devotions, right? Like, honestly, in me, I was like, nah, I don't feel like doing this. But, I told God, this is kind of what I want to do. And I don't want to just, like, I want to be prepared for, like, conversations like this and everything. So, I just woke up, did devotions, and then I just worked on my music really all day. So, it was like, that time with Jesus in the morning influenced my day. Like, I could have just been a lazy sack of potatoes all day, like I usually am. But I want to do this Jesus thing, bro. If you love him, you'll do it. Even though it's hard and you're tempted not to.
I literally just realized, when you fall into sin, it looks good. It looks good. And then once you're done, you feel horrible. You feel so much regret and, this feeling inside of you that's just like, my gosh, I'm such an idiot for even thinking about that. Right? But when you think about God and doing stuff that partakes in, worshiping him, right?
Yes.
It looks so bad and like you're so lazy to do it and you don't feel like doing it. But once you do it, you are so much more positive, right?
Oh,
and
God.
The road to heaven looks like hell, but the road to hell looks like heaven.
Dude, high fives. Dude, I forgot what I was going to say. Dude, it was good too, I swear. What were you saying though?
I'm saying, like, when you look at your temptation, and it looks so like it's like the fruit from Adam and Eve. It's like, oh, I just want to eat it.
You just love touching the snake.
I just want to eat it, right?
Yeah.
And then after, Adam and Eve, once they felt so much regret after eating the apple, and it's like the same thing with our temptation. When we fall, we feel horrible. But it looked good before we did it. Well, then with God, it looks so like a chore.
Yeah.
Right? Once you do it, you're changed for the rest of the day. One little 15-minute.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Session.
Thank you for refreshing my mind.
One
It says
one 15-minute
before I forget
session could change you for the rest of your day.
What was I gonna say? Dude. Oh yeah. So one thing I always tell you: flesh and spirit. What is the one thing I tell you? Flesh and spirit.
Are you like asking me?
Yeah, I'm trying to like see if you remember.
The flesh is. The spirit is willing.
Mm.
The flesh is. I don't remember.
I don't either. Like not willing. That's kind of that's the premise of it.
With the flesh not
But that's why, like, when you're like, wanting, or you don't want to spend time with Jesus, like your spirit is willing. Like really deep down in you, you're like, yes, I really want to do this. That's why you have the thought. But your flesh is like, nah, no, you don't. Do you really? And you're like, you know, Connor, Lincoln, you'd rather be in your bed, eating goldfish, watching YouTube or Netflix, bro. But then, it's like when temptation comes, your flesh is like, yes. It's like all for it. It's like, please feed me. But then the spirit is like, no, you don't really, you don't want this. That's why internally you're like, I don't want to. Yeah, your spirit is calling out for God, bro. But your flesh is trying to like suffocate you. So rather than being suffocated, you gotta not be suffocated. Don't allow yourself.
It's like the cartoons when a demon and an angel is on your shoulder.
Yeah,
it's
spirit
like,
and flesh.
On
your shoulder.
The demon influence you in a wrong decision to make it seem so nice and like this is good for you, right? And the angel is always like what you don't want to hear, but it's better for you. It's way better. Yeah. Right? And if you choose God, right? That's another thing you have to be careful of. If you choose God, the devil is going to realize that you chose God instead of Him this morning or whenever you did your devotions, and then for the rest of the day He's going to try to attack you and attack you and attack you until you're finally broken down, and He's going to cause so many bad things to happen in your day, and it makes you question God. Why would you even do this, right? Mm-hmm. So He makes you question God when He was the one actually causing all of it.
Yeah, facts. He's just a massive manipulator. Bro,
and it's a cycle.
And sometimes, even when you are like, you give your morning to Jesus and then, like you're striving for Him, sometimes Jesus will allow the enemy to come in to test you.
Yeah.
I've said this in a few episodes back, but like, He's going to test the genuineness of your faith. It's kind of like righteous judgment, Lincoln.
Yeah.
It's like He's testing the genuineness of your faith, kind of like how we test people with righteous judgment, to challenge them, to grow them. He tests the genuineness of our faith to see, will we continue to put our faith in Him even when we're being attacked?
Yeah.
To grow our faith, to grow our spiritual muscles, bro.
He's like asking you, like, hey, after I completely changed your mood and filled you up with joy for however long that was,
will you still choose me?
Will you still choose whatever it may be that's worldly over me? Even though I love you so and still continue to love, even after you choose the thing over Him, even when He told you, don't do this, right? I'm going to give you a way out, but it's up to you, right? Even after that, He still loves you the same as before you even did it.
Yeah, and this is how you know it's love, because He already knew if you were going to fall. But He still loved you enough. He loved you enough to give you that joy, that sense of peace. Even though He knew that you were going to fall. Even though He was testing you, even though He knew the results of the test. But He did it because He loves you.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man. Do you have any more questions?
I think that's about it.
I don't even know what episode this is, bro. It's been 2 months. But I'm glad I got to come back and do it with you.
Yeah.
This is probably my longest podcast. I know I said it's going to be like 20 minutes, but it's probably an hour.
Hey, man.
This is what Jesus does, bro. It's like you can't put Jesus on a time zone.
He's
outside time.
And Jesus is like, what do you mean 20 minutes?
Yeah. We have so much to unpack, Connor and Lincoln. Not 20. We need an hour and 20. But, yeah, this is cool, bro. Do it again sometime? So pathetic. Do it again sometime, bro?
Yeah.
Alright, bet. Well, you want to close them out?
No.
Alright. Thank you guys for watching that.
So, we don't know when the next episode's going to be, so...
It's gonna be weekly after this one. So this is dropping Friday. This Friday, obviously, because you're watching it on this Friday. So next Friday, we're going to have another episode. I don't know if he's joining. He's probably going to be playing Fortnite.
Right.
No, but, I'm going to get back on the weekly schedule Friday. Or no, these are Saturdays. There's Sunday.
It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
We
don't know. So
this is Sundays.
Later on the
podcast, Freedom Movement Podcast, at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday.
Name.
Bro, this is okay. What was the premise of today's video? Freedom. All right. I don't know where it cut off. So, yeah, wherever it ended, that's the end of the video. Hopefully, it wasn't anything important. But yeah, we'll be back on Sunday, 11:59 p.m. Anything to say?
Nope.
Get him out of here. All right, so we'll see you at. All right, so we'll see you at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday night. God bless. Jesus loves you, and we'll see you later, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts.